Wow, I'm really proud. Really interesting is like, these are full, these are empty. So I guess y'all want to be the furthest away you can from us. So, come on in, welcome, my name is Don Sanders, president here. Means volunteer with one vote, as we talked about before. But thanks for coming. We have a really robust deck to go through. And we'll try to do that very efficiently and also have plenty of time for your questions and our answers. But as kind of a new tradition here at Contra Costa, let's start with new members. Do we have any members here today that have joined in the last year and a half? Please just stand up, say your name, and we'll clap.
Patrick Cooper from Pleasant Hill.
Nice to meet you. Welcome. Any other new members?
A little late, but.
No new members. Okay, Ryan?
All right, start with the agenda.
Okay. I think we have a really robust set here to go through. This is a combination of an annual meeting, as well as a board meeting. So we're going to go through some incredibly boring things, but then we'll go and we'll have committee reports that are more robust than what we typically have at a during a board meeting. Yeah, I'm going to just push it. How long are you going to be able to you have too much stuff. You know, Adam's one of those people that works so hard, but man, he likes to be back. Right. Richie Adams. John Wall. Dr. James Hood. Dan O'Malley. I'm not just kidding. Debbie Pellegrini. Jimmy McKinnon. Adam Fair, our treasurer. Debbie, by the way, is our secretary. And Mike Tiliadis, vice president. Thank you all for being here. And before we go too far, I want to thank this guy over here to my right, Brian. What you've done leading this club is absolutely amazing. As we go through this presentation, we hope you all understand that the group up here had really nothing to do with it. All the work that was done, we have some ideas and things, but really all the work comes to the staff. Folks that work here really hard. Hope that while you're out here today, whenever you're here, you spend just a couple of minutes just to say thank you, because they really work hard and we're the beneficiaries of that. Let's call the meeting to order at 6:02.
I knew we were close. I just want to make sure we got all that done.
You're pushing that.
I know, it's terrible. All right, so a few things you're gonna hear tonight. God, I'm really loud this thing. I probably don't need it, but I need it for the camera. A little bit about fiscal stability. So the club, just over 2.5 years ago when I arrived, we probably weren't in that spot. Right now, we're in a really good place. Mike's gonna talk about where we are from a fiscal standpoint, where we are from a cash standpoint. You all should be very proud of where we are right now, and where we're going moving forward. Club IQ surveys, couple things about that. Our current NPS is 47.5. To be honest, it actually hurts me a little bit. One of our goals, which you'll see when we get to membership, is that we were going to exceed 50. So net promoter score is when you answer 9 or 10 on that survey. Based on the one question, would you recommend a friend or colleague to Contra Costa Country Club? Now, I just want you all to know, and for everyone who's going to watch this later, that doesn't mean we're going to add more members. I just want to make sure you're happy. So 9 or 10, that is where that net promoter score comes in. But we were 60% of everyone that took the survey scored a 9 or 10. So I see that as a positive word. We've actually exceeded that from prior years, so we're moving in a good spot. The comments, I get them every morning at 5:45 in the morning. They come into my email. I'm trying to do a better job of not making that the first thing I do every morning. But I do read those every single day. And if there's something learning, something we need to talk about, that's what I do with my team that particular day. The board and my entire team get them on a weekly basis. I do a Friday report of what we've done in each one of the departments, what's kind of going on in my world and conversations and work that's being done to keep them up to date. But those surveys are what we use, whether that's in committee, whether that's at the the board level or definitely from an operational level on either things that need to be done, things that need to change. I got here, food and beverage service, huge deal. Food and beverage right now is actually the highest it's probably ever been. So as we get to my team, I'll make sure that we recognize that. That's what gives us that real-time feedback. Course conditions have been great all year, Stephen and his team. What we've done from an irrigation standpoint, which we'll talk about, it has been a huge transformation. Firmer greens, quicker greens, we make those baby steps to get them faster and faster. So thank you, Stephen. Here, huge about monthly new member orientation. So that new member orientation is not just Greg or I or Karina standing up in front of us, it's actually the entire team. So my entire team is coming to each one of those new member orientations, and we are going through top to bottom, really hitting a lot within the member resource guide. 80, 70 pages, hard to read, right? So we're hitting all those top lines, so we know that they're actually hearing it from not only me and Greg, but actually the entire team. So my team, thank you for being in every one of those this year. I know that Wednesday night, last Wednesday of the month, at 5 o'clock, we're pretty worn out, but I thank you all definitely for being there. Food and beverage member events, very well attended. We made huge strides. I got here, we had events set up here and there and everywhere, and the teams really bought into a minimum of 4 social events every month. So thank you to them. And then we have several projects in the planning stage. So doing capital budget right now for 2025, finishing up operating budget for 2025. Just got that over the finance committee this week. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule, which is a good place to be. But we've got a lot of big stuff going on. I'll tell you, we're looking at locker room, looking at some new furniture outside over at the pool. So we've got a lot that's kind of coming up. Hospitality committee can chat a little bit about that. But I have to thank my team. My team, if you can stand up and I'll go. Drake, thank you for one of our newest members. Kevin, thanks for all you're doing on the outside. Juan, thank you for putting all this together for us tonight. We appreciate your AV work, except I don't think anyone else is able to do it but us. Tony, thanks for coming on strong here and leading the food and beverage team. Eddie helping me out with financials and keeping us together. Jeff Brett, I don't know what to say, all that you do, all the events you throwing on you, all the stuff that we kind of throw into the mix and your team continues to rock it. So thank you. Stephen, you can stand up right next to him. Stephen for, obviously golf course leading that team. And then really kind of my right hand when it comes to just about anything, and you all will definitely agree, especially to play for Pink Ladies, as I see them over there. Karina, thank you for everything that you did. So you all know, Karina puts all the newsletters together, Karina puts all the weekly emails together. She gets all that content, all of the flyers, everything that you see around the club, she builds those basically from scratch. So thank you for everything that you do. Okay, so I know we already interviewed her.
Okay, before we talk about the new board members, thank you for being here. We have several members of the board that are leaving this year, and I want to thank them. Adam Barrett, Dr. James Barrett, and when you think about all the work you've done, it's been absolutely fabulous. You've taken a tremendous amount of time, sacrifice. You brought your ideas have always been extremely thoughtful. Adam, on the finance side, thank you so much. We've been working on that for years. And you, along with Mike, in the last couple of years, which was my experience, have done with Ryan, done a tremendous job of not only stabilizing our finances, but also understanding more about what really is happening. So there's a tremendous amount of work that you did that I want to thank you for. And James, come on, that's being on the board with you was absolutely delightful. You brought forward thought, kindness, number of ideas, and a tremendous amount of good humor. Thank you for stepping in and being part of the board in the last couple of years. Lastly, the only other member going off the board is me. But
Yeah, so then I get to say something, so. No, but that's what I get to do. Some of you in the room that have been past presidents, you know how much time and effort that actually goes into helping run and kind of guide this ship moving forward. And Don has been huge impact in that, with Chip the last couple of years and Don, being there to kind of help guide where we're going. So I cannot thank you enough for all the work that you put in.
And our new members. Nancy Nolan, please stand up. Welcome to the board of directors. Don Kramer, one of our head scholars, for the country. And B. Schulman, who's not here, couldn't be here tonight, but we want to thank him for joining the board anyway. Okay, let's keep going on to the agenda. Yep. So, and this is the sort of the technical stuff we have to go through, questions for the board. To approve the minutes of the September 26th board meeting. All in favor? Approved. Approval of upgrade of the wait list to proprietary membership. Approved. Okay. Approval of prospective golf waitlist membership applications. Approved. Those are things that are very customary that shows people's names and where they are waitlists and things like that. So anyway, that's perfect. We have items requiring board actions. This month we really don't have it. So we'll keep moving forward. Items requiring board discussion. Ryan, you're going to talk about the operating budget just a little bit, right?
Yep. So it was just announced to the finance committee a couple days ago. We've got our first meeting on Tuesday morning. So we're in a good spot. We're ahead of schedule on where we would normally be. It needs to be approved by the November meeting. So we'll be on time.
Thank you. Now, so the committee presentations, and this is where we receive most of your information for the evening. Annual meeting, financial presentation, always kind of our key event, if you will, that tells everyone where we are as far as the budget is concerned with respect to our finances. And Mike, there's a microphone for you.
Hi, everyone. Mike Giuliano, Vice President. I'm also the chair of the Finance Committee. So quickly just recognizing my team, Adam, Rita, James, Dan, Jack, and Charlie. The last three of them are new members to the Finance Committee this year, so appreciate all of their help. And everyone on the committee has been a huge help over the last several years, particularly coming out of COVID and some challenging financial situations. So some highlights, we are ahead of our budget for the year. We're at about $200,000 in net income, which is slightly below last year's pace, but well ahead of where we were in 2022. So feeling very solid there. What have we done for that? We've had some additional revenue, and Ryan and his team have managed what they can control. And where we missed historically was on payroll, operating supplies, and overtime. So there have been new reporting updates on a weekly basis where they monitor those things. And the department heads have really been controlling their operating supplies. So in terms of the budget, each individual department budget is created by the department head, which creates accountability. We continue to see inflation, but it's something that we have our eye on, and we've been able to adapt to that. The balance sheet is clean. We manage it on a monthly basis. I scrub through every single balance sheet reconciliation that's provided by Sherman, make sure that everything is sort of in that audited position on a monthly basis. Operating expenses, as I mentioned, have been under control. And the good news is we're continuing our trend from 2023 throughout 2024, and we look to have solid results into 2025. So in summary, we are in a very strong financial position with a healthy balance sheet. Our cash balance is currently sitting over $3 million, an increase from this time period of last year. And that's despite the fact that we've invested $875,000 into the driving range project. And that is instead of using our credit facility that we have, which eventually, as we get further along into that, we will use. Our wait list is sitting at 31 members, so we continue to have positive future in terms of our transfer fees, which is really what's funding the drainage project and our other capital improvements around the club. In terms of the debt that we do have, it's considerably lower than our peers around us. We know certain peers close by have had significant issues with their debt this year. But based on our 8-year capital plan, and really looking forward into what we need to invest in this club going forward, we have a good handle on that. We have a really good relationship with our bank, and the whole board has been active in maintaining, oversight in terms of our finances.
Thank you. Here's the golf committee. Debbie?
We have, here's the golf.
Here.
Hear me now, okay. Middle button, I may see.
Big buttons.
We have 11 members on our golf committee. We have the chair, we have the board liaisons, each association, and we have members at large. And we have 3 committees. We have the TAP committee, which is, they came up with a TAP form. That's for the tournament chair to fill out and kind of lead them through the process so that they can come up with financial responsibility, but also to coordinate with our management team, which would be the golf shop, which would be superintendent and also food and beverage. And I'm sorry, then we have the handicap committee, and the handicap committee, we have a cash control system. It's a database now. All of your scores are looked at and also your tournament scores. Then we have junior golf, which is overseen, and it has 3 members. Okay, this is our current staffing that we have. As you can see, we have 5 professionals. We have 1 vacancy. We have 4 shop assistants, and we have 9 guest services. So now to our accomplishments. One of the big ones that people had asked for, you had asked for, was to have better player services. We have somebody at the bag drop, they bring out the carts, and we have more of staff down at the practice facility. And USDA requires us at least every 10 years to go by a hole analysis to determine our hole handicaps. We did that. Staff looked at over 4,000 cards, and this was a new method that USDA established in 2019 to determine our hole handicaps. We also refreshed and updated our dress code with hope with the added clarity. Kind of went with some current trends as well as the tradition of Golf Country Club. We also, as you know, it got shelves out in the downstairs. We now can do 180 push carts, and because of this, we got rid of our wait list, and we actually have some more places available. And we also revised the guest policy. People can, you can now bring a member, a guest, 1 person in the mornings, 3 days in advance by calling the pro shop. And we also revised the policy regarding your children who are no longer member dependents and your parents, that you can also bring them out in the morning. This should be. Okay, this is our junior golf program. I would like you to know that we have one of the most robust junior programs in the entire area. We have 5 different programs. It's really strong because we have some really good goals, and our goal is to make sure that our members' children have an opportunity for golf and have a place to practice and can improve their skills, but also can play with their peers and also go out to do competitions at other clubs. So we have our junior camps. We had almost 150 members. Our children came, in 4 weeks. The demand is so much, we are now going to have 5 paints next year. We have 2 summer leagues. That's the PGA Junior League. That's for your 5 to 13-year-olds. We have over 40 children to participate. We actually have 10 events. We host some that go around to other country clubs. And then East Bay has 6 events, and they also get to go to other country clubs. We do sponsor Aqualanis and College Park. There's a boys team and a girls team. I'm very proud to let you know that the girls team won it the 5th year in a row, and they're going on for further tournaments. And we expanded our junior merit program. We now have 10 slots. We have 7. But they have to be in a college or high school adult team. We could not do our junior camps without them. And the reason is when you start having 50 children and you look at our staff, if it wasn't for them, we are able to provide a ratio of 1 kind of teacher to every 5 children. And real quickly, what are we working on? We're working on our golf calendar. We're monitoring our new concept of split tees for 1 and 4 on 1 shotguns. We're hoping it allows more people to be able to come out. Starter, we right now have one on Fridays through Sundays. We're hoping for 8 to 2 o'clock, but we are looking to try and make this 6 days a week. And there to review the course policies, make sure you have a towel, and have sand. Do they know how to fix divots? Do they know how to take a cart in at the green and out of the red? And we are also monitoring the updated the golf cart geo fencing, but we have problems with it. Main goal is to make sure our carts stay out of our restricted areas. Kevin's really working to enhance our development of our associates. And he is also working to purchase and have our centennial equipment, planning for our teaching center. And last but not least, those of you who have ever filled out the tax form, it's a little cumbersome, and working to improve it and get it online.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think the golf committee, this year, last few years anyways, really focused on members first. So the comments that don't make, the various surveys are taken very seriously. And hopefully, during the rest of the evening, you will see how the board is taking action. Focus on what's most important to our membership. Okay, next is the Green Committee.
Good evening, Dan O'Malley here. So I'm going to make a few comments. I'm going to ask Ryan to go through some details of what the actual work that's been done by Stephen and his team. And then I'm going to finish up with some motivational speeches about divots and ball marks. If you'll bear with me a moment. So the committee is Adam Fair, the board liaison. I joined this year as the board liaison. Adam's too shy to make the presentation. Are you still talking? Yeah. So Keith Showman is the chair. John Kramer now, Derek Petrick, Craig Bolas, Helen Basil, Garrett Zilgett, Deb Doyle, and Mitch Nagagaki. So that's our committee. We meet monthly with Stephen and his team, and Ryan is always at that there. And speaking of which, our agronomy team is led by Stephen Stafford, his first assistant, Johnny Bond, and his second assistant, Cassidy Powell. We see them everywhere, and they work tirelessly trying to make this place better. So before I turn it over to Ryan, I want to give a historical perspective. I think my brother celebrated his 40th year here, and I just celebrated my 33rd year here. And we always had the saying that you knew it was summertime because the balls were plugging in Contra Costa. And so we have been working starting 25, 30 years ago when I was very involved with the new drainage system. And we've always struggled with water and turf management, the soils that we have. So when Ryan makes his presentation, please pay very close attention when they have that the part of the green that was lifted, that the organic matter, the improvement that was there in the old days would just be black sludge. And now just Ryan will comment on that. So I know that we're working very hard, and we're also very hard on Stephen and his team, that we want faster, firmer, we want this and that. So I'll be talking a little bit later how our members can help him and his team and maybe reward him or show due respect for him If he's gonna work his rear end off tirelessly, maybe we can do our best to make the better. So Ryan, if you could take over for a second.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Dan. And Derek, by the way, you are doubly important. Hence why your name was on there twice. Just saying. Okay, so, yeah, I kind of hit on this a little bit. So improving our green seat. So I know that there's a lot of work that's done on the golf course throughout the year, but that work and those shorter downtimes as we have this fall, we had great growing conditions. Those are what make the golf course better. The top dressing, the verticuttings, the aerifications, the needle tinings, all of that is what we do. Stephen and his team does to make the golf course better for you all throughout the year. So I know there's some disruptions throughout the year. We've got some plans for spring. Let's all pray for good weather because if it's warmer and sun's out, I guarantee grass grows faster. You saw that kind of what we had this fall. Improved presentation, tee markers and the black mark areas, the trimming of cart paths, all of that stuff is what his team does all the time. And I'm going to say one of the biggest things we did this year, Stephen Cassidy kind of took this on pretty deep, is we did a full irrigation audit. And when I say full irrigation audit, every single head, 1,776 heads, is that right? God, that's pretty good. 1,776 heads in this golf course, and every single one of them is set up individually. How much time is what heads are in each one of those sprinklers, and then all that goes in the computer system that Stephen manages. And I will tell you, we went through every single one of those. What we realized was prior to this, and I will say that definitely in our tree world, we are the only ones that have done this because there's been a few people call me and say, how in the hell did you do this? Every one of our lateral lines going down the fairway are set up A's and B's, which means no head at any point in time is going to collide with one another. So if we remember, we talked about wet playing conditions. Above 17 bunker is probably the best place I can do. What we figured out through this super deep dive, we actually had 3 heads colliding at the same time. So 35 gallons a minute per head, that's a lot. It's a lot, 105 gallons. I had to work that through really quick. 105 gallons of water is colliding in the air and falling straight down. That's not where it's supposed to go, right? It's supposed to continue to go. So through this process and the change that Stephen made, by changing how we reset the entire system, now our consistency of watering is much better. So huge kudos to you and your team for that project. And that was, I'm going to say, 2.5, 3 months really worth of work to kind of figure out what was going on last winter. We saw those results this year. Improved uniformity. So some of the stuff that I'm going to kind of go through, the warm seeding grass, we're doing our last spray next week in the rough. So you're going to see them out there seeding and mulching those areas that those warm seeding grass. Our goal is to get all that out of here. Right, so then we have a single strain of grass throughout the entire golf course. Is that going to be possible? 100% no chance. But our goal is to keep that down as far as we can. You're going to see us doing some sodding work, taking some of the playability areas and actually just taking those warm seeding grasses out. But we're going to continue this. So we usually don't start this till the fall. We have a plan next year. We're going to start it earlier in the season so that we can hit that before it starts growing super heavy in the summer. Organic matter, so it's kind of what Dan was talking about. You can kind of see these aerification marks. This is all fresh sand. When you see that fresh sand in the cup, that means we're getting water, nutrients, everything down deeper. The deeper we get all of that, the better roots we have, the firmer greens. So that aerification, you can see how important each one of those are. And you can see by what we've done, adding the gene aerification and then getting a little bit more aggressive in the fall, what that's done to our organic matter. So lower organic matter means you're going to have firmer greens. Couple of great things that we're doing, POGO data. So if you see the staff out there early in the morning, Johnny or Cassidy, and they have this little probe and they're going around the green. That's actually reading how much moisture is in the green. So for us, for Stephen, when he's getting ready to go water, right, you have this brown's not great, blue's way too much water. So what we try to do is keep that very consistent where it's green all the time through that profile. The other side is that lets us not have to water as often, because now when we go out and we've got these red marks and brown marks, that's where we send the team to go hand water. So it keeps the consistency in the green center. Huge piece over here that, through one of our partners, we're actually a test site. If you look at the back of the fairway units, we have those little arms. Those little arms are actually reading the soil in the grass as it's going by, thinking of how much chlorophyll is in the grass. Chlorophyll is down in the grass. That means it needs something, whether that's water or whether that's nutrients. So you can see a pre-night where you've got some lighter color pre-irrigation and then post-irrigation. So you can see how that's going. So for us and our team, we're able to see if we have irrigation head issues. We can pick that up as it's going. So Stephen and the technology is fantastic. Last piece, which is going to be a big deal for us coming up next year, working on bunkers, right? So all of our irrigation actually sprays in all of our bunkers. How do we fix that? Well, we went through and actually redid number 7. So left green side bunker on 7. Go in there and hit some balls out of it. So that's one of the focus. So taking out the overhead and actually putting pop-ups in all around there is keeping the irrigation from going inside of the bunker and just keep it on the grass where we want it. So we have some plans to get a couple more done next year. It's a big process and a little disturbing. 8's going to be one we're definitely going to look at next. And that'll probably be one of our toughest. 8 and 5 are going to be the hardest ones to do. So look for some of that coming up here in the near future. And I will turn it back over to Dan.
So as I mentioned before, we're pretty hard on Stephen and the golf committee, the Greens committee, as well as the board. And Stephen has been working tirelessly and using innovation that I've been playing for a long time that I never even heard of. And he's inspired me to try to convince our members that we owe an obligation to one another and we owe an obligation to his team to try to do the best job we can with this golf course that he's trying to make for us. So that was said. How many show of hands? Everybody fixes all their ball marks. Show of hands, how many people have friends that don't fix all their ball marks? Okay, so now we're gonna find those friends, right? How about divots? Anybody make some divots, and when there's carts on the path, they bring a bottle with them to the middle of the fairway? All right, how many friends that don't? Okay, so I feel like we have to do it, and we had asked Kevin and his golf shop team to maybe remind people, and it dawned on me how unfair it is to Kevin's team that has to remind us as the owners of this club to do what that we're, 1, morally obligated to do, and 2, that we should be doing just for the sake of our golf course. So I'm going to be introducing, and the board has given me a little permission to introduce, we're going to try some golf ambassadors that might be on some holes and then some golf holes, and might be reminding people, you missed your ball mark, and here's how to fix it properly. Please don't be insulted. And then, as I said today, the women will love this. I've seen all of this, and I think Rich will back this up, foot marks all through the bunkers that no one's breaking their bunkers, and they're not small size 6 women. Okay, so we're clear. It's not my wife, right? And so, once again, we're talking about an obligation to your fellow members that just we all pay the same amount of money. We all do our best to make a better golf course, but we all can do our part a little bit better. So we're hoping this ambassadors, if there's any volunteers that want to man a hole or woman a hole, to remind people it's non-confrontational. If you choose not to, then I get to hire a whole bunch of people, and then they're all going to be top and they're going to be mean and all that stuff. They may be Italian, not sure. So anyway, so that's that is my goal. As soon as we get everything back in order, when Stephen's done with his current application, we're going to start putting a full court press on our members and start doing a better job. So that's my report.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan. All right, hospitality, Dr. Hood.
Hello. Hello. So President Center told me that he was going to be hospitable to me. I had 3 minutes. So I'm on clock. So first we want to welcome Tony Bernardi as our food and beverage director. Tony comes to us from Southern California with much experience and success in his role in his former club and has done a great job. Thank you. Next, we were able to reopen the bunker for walk-in service. The bunker was closed during the pandemic, and reopening was great for the members and the staff.
The wine and cocktail options have been revamped and improved, and wine sales are up 20% year to date. The mobile app ordering is now up and running for ordering from the bunker. This is something that is great for ordering on the course or at the pool. We have completed a non-member banquet packet, which distinguishes pricing from member events. The pizza program was introduced this summer and is continuing as a big hit. The chairs for the grill have been purchased and are in queue for production and should ship in 4 weeks. Burger night is on Thursdays and prime rib night on Sundays, and both events are recurring every other month. And lastly, I'm happy to report that Christina Africa has been promoted to banquet manager. Ariana Lee to bar manager. Sarah Barker has been promoted to banquet captain. Christian Torres to front of house manager. And we've added 17 new front of house staff members. So that's the report for hospitality.
Thank you very much.
Members of the committee.
Okay, so as we were introducing everyone, Amy Rocha unfortunately cannot be here tonight. She had a last minute work issue at the winery, so I get to do this tonight. So Amy and Mike sit on as our board liaisons. Chip Doyle is our chair. Stephanie, David, Ron, Kathy, David, Don do an amazing job working with Drake and Karina in our membership side. So a couple highlights. We've had 28 social membership sales. That's crazy because our goal was, she'll be on the next slide, I think it was like 12. Our current wait list is 31. We've had 30 total golf sales, which is 55 total for the year. There we go. So just a little kind of where we were. So our goal is to get above 20 and we end up at 30. We increased the social calendar net of plus 13. That has never been done here at the club. So Drake, thank you for all of your effort. For all the time you put in with our social group, as well as your incoming members. Thank you for all that you're doing. So a little thing I kind of put together, so we actually track how many prospects are coming in, how many tours are done, how many preview rounds are done. And when you see this online, we're gonna post this, so you'll have this tomorrow. Start going through there, you're gonna be shocked at how many tours and how many conversions we actually have. So if we can get them on property, Drake and the team do a great job of showing, not for everyone. Right, but those that are coming that he's done the back end work that know it's going to be a good fit, we're seeing a really good close rate. So good job, Drake, for all that you're doing. All right, so I think I talked enough about Drake. Just kidding. So Drake got here in February. It was a little long process that I went through trying to find the right person. I was looking for somebody with sales, somebody with golf experience, somebody that not only understood the club, but could talk that same lingo. And Drake came over to us, and I think it's been a great fit for the team. Expanded member amenities, the new member orientation I kind of touched on earlier. Karina's work on our new website. If you have not been to the new website, it is way better than our old website was. So thank you. That was a huge project, probably 6 months worth of work to get us to that close, so thank you. Change the age of the children, we kind of talked about that, 23 to 26, that kind of extend out of membership committee, so that 23 to 26 now still have access, just let's play with the primary members, so with the parents when they're here. New marketing plan that Karina and Drake put together with work from Michelle from our corporate office. It is a very detailed how we're going to get from point A to point B, and a lot of that was the Facebook campaign. So I'll just remind all the members when that Facebook campaign hits again, please don't click on it because I pay for that every time you click on it. We pay for that, so you all know about it, so everything's good. But it is a pay per click campaign. We had, give me sales off of that, 5, 3, I was close, 3, just off of that Facebook marketing campaign. And then internal outreach, so First Tee. Greg actually sits on the board for the First Tee. We're using golf pros. We've had 2 or 3 just come over from a local teaching professional. 5. I knew one was 5 from a local golf professional, that's teaching that we were the right fit for her student, and those have been closed. And then obviously we're keeping into the local market with the Rotary and, local real estate agents. So where we are, number 618 total members, which is fantastic. Again, that's the big growth that we've had from the social side. Our full golf is still at 450, nothing changes. And we do have the, which is not on that side, but we have that option of the, leave of absence, so the 9-month leave of absence. So there's a certain times of the year we might have 451, 452, depending on those coming off of leave of absence. All right.
All right, let's talk about Centennial Committee. I'm going to be part of this about merchandise and programs. First of all, I want to thank everyone that's involved with the Centennial Committee over the last 2 years, 2 years plus. 4. Oh my goodness. I'm getting older. Anyway, thank you, Andrea, Pamela, Sherry Alden, George Godfrey, Mike Hastings, and of course, Ryan The next slide, please. This is a very cumbersome slide, so we're going to skip through most of it. But what's really interesting is when you look at our history, back in 1925, when we were founded, William A. Daddy Root, I guess he was, had this comment about who we are. And that's really started with the No Phillips Golf Club, built it for golfers. You can go read the rest. The fact of the matter is, when we started, our aim and our goal and our objective was to be a golf course, be golf-centric. And then fast forward to where we are today, and you look at our vision statement and our mission that was put together back, I think, in 2020-ish, maybe a little bit before. Summarizing it is, we're offering a premier golf experience in East Bay and family-friendly environment. So we basically stuck to what we've been doing all along. A couple of milestones which are of note that make us unique is that in 1928, we started inviting high school students to come out here and play for free. We're contributing to the community. In 1929, we had the first Chairman's Cup, the women's, and so we had women out here a lot more than other clubs. Bravo. And 1931 was our first sprinkler. The junior program came about in 1934. So we've been doing the right thing for a long time. In 1946, we had the first women's group was formed. This is something we should really be proud of. What we do is look after our members. In 1950, we opened up a second 9, if you will, to be able to start 18 holes. So we have a robust history, and next year we're going to celebrate it. And we'll start celebrating a little bit through this year. As you'll see, Brian mentioned, outside here, we have a lot of great merchandise. It's a good example of what we're going to do. So we encourage you, embrace our history, embrace our future, and help us celebrate together through our gala that will be in May. It'll be on May 5th, which happens to be my 34th wedding anniversary. So I know where I'm going to be.
Good plan.
And we hope you all come to enjoy our celebration and my wife and I. Thank you.
All right, so calendars, get on your calendar, November 22nd is Sip and Shop. That will be the full launch of the new logo. There'll be vendors here where you can special order. We'll actually have products here for sale on that day. If you did not see some of the merchandise coming in, those new tote bags were fantastic. I think the ladies in the committee yesterday were losing their mind when we had those. So November 22nd, and then that logo will run. We will have some of that logo through the entire 25. Once 2025 is over, that logo goes away. We will also have a website that you'll be able to special order high-end blankets, shirts. It's a wide variety of stuff, which is great for the club so that I don't have to have a lot of different items sitting in here. Your pricing is the same as what you would have if I were to order it to have it in here. So you still have your same member pricing on all of that stuff online. Other dates that are on your calendar, which I did not see on here, January 25th is the day that, the letter of incorporation was done to incorporate the golf course. That is also the same day we are shooting for to launch the, Centennial Wall. So we'll have a little, get together. So make sure you throw that on your calendar. July 4th is going to be fantastic. I'm working on some exciting things for it. All right, so logo coming out. So representation of the 3 stars is actually our 3 architects. That's kind of where that came from. So all 3 of our architects tried to keep it very simple to where it wasn't too crazy. This is actually the label on the wine bottle. So we actually have worked with winery in Napa. Actually, all the wine is actually on property. Don't go looking for it because it's hidden. But we will have that, we have some etched bottles as well as paper bottles. So paper, we're actually gonna have, for normal pour upstairs, we'll have the etched bottles for purchase. So if you've got some, friends or others, and then, I'm working on a Magnum program. So, hopefully that scenario works out for next year, but super excited about the wine. It's actually a very good wine. And I know you all are gonna enjoy it. So look for that, come right after the first of the year. Last piece, through the, committee is we're obviously looking for sponsors. So within the club, we actually don't do any marketing for any of the members and members businesses. That's part of what is in there. So our goal through this is to get our member businesses some visual with our entire membership, and that will be logos up on TVs. Karina's got all of the flyers back here. I won't make you read all of this now. Deadline is we're gonna shoot for December 1st. So if you're interested, reach out to me, reach out to Karina. We'll be more than happy to kind of walk you through it with what each one of those are. But your gold and platinum sponsors also have some personal benefit for you here at the club. So keep that in mind. Anyone interested, please get a hold of one of us. Or if you have any friends in the market that want their businesses looked at, shoot them over to Karina and I. And our emails, you obviously all of mine, are on the back of the flyer.
Thank you. Thank you. Exciting. Something dear to our heart, like your opinion. We do a lot of great things here at our club. Of course, the greatest condition. We're a wonderful membership. But one of the things that we do that really makes us special is play for paint. Because with play for paint, we actually save lives. We do something far more important than the product. And this year, once again, we had a terrific event, raised over $52,000 for Breast Cancer Research Foundation. And when you think about it, these efforts have contributed to a 40% reduction in breast cancer deaths in the past 3 decades, and 58% in the last 10 years. So the momentum is here. And, we're all so proud of our club and all of you members that make this happen. It's just absolutely amazing. And, we have to recognize 3 people. Anita Stevens, please stand. You all created this along with some other members, and we have to thank you so much for doing that. Without your efforts, it wouldn't have happened. And you created a foundation for us to go forward with as a club, something that we're extraordinarily proud of. Because we actually are making a difference in society through this program. So thank you so much. Thank you all members for supporting it. We hope that next year we'll try to make it even bigger if we can. But let's always keep in mind that, while we're playing golf and we enjoy each other's company, this club actually is making a difference outside of golf and just general friendship. So thank you so much, all of you.
So if I could just add one thing on that note, huge thank you to all of the committee chairs. So each one of the committee actually donated to the basket this year, so it didn't fall completely on the 3 ladies. So thank you to all the committees and committee chairs for all of your hard work, and Anita for putting everything together. So thank you.
go to property facilities. I know we're taking up a lot of your time, but, let's keep going.
Good evening, everyone. Richie Adams here on the Facilities Committee. Thanks for coming. A lot of good stuff. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
A lot of good stuff going on at the club. So, oh yeah, sorry. Our committee, Dr. James Hood and myself are the board liaisons to both hospitality and the facilities team. John Sauer is the chair. My very good friend John does a great job. Another great friend, Mike Quigley, Brandon Schlenker, Ken Nishi, Paulo Sims, who's actually a designer, who's helping us with the locker rooms, and Joe Spiegler also. So those two guys have actually visited several of the clubs around the state and out of the state to look at designs for locker room refreshes. So, and they're doing a really great job and they have some really great ideas. So I'll get this going with number one, the kitchen update. So, as you guys know, our kitchen is very old, very outdated. It's continued to be upgraded. Adding prep and cook stations in the kitchen are limited by the existing footprint in the hooded areas. The chef works hard to optimize the space on an ongoing basis. So with that being said, we have installed a new line grill, new ovens, new ice machines, electrical updates, and the best one is the pizza oven, which we bought from Olinda. They paid $9,000 and we bought it from them for $1,000, and it's literally, it's a brand new condition. So really good deal. So the irrigation system backup generator is complete, which that was a really big one, especially if and when we lose the power, which has happened here a couple of times. The pool filter has been cleaned and repaired. The solar project, I'm gonna save that for the end for Ryan to give us an update on that. Internal clubhouse updates, working on the locker room update for 2025. So just so you guys know, we allocated money, capital money for 2024. It wasn't a big amount, it was about 120,000. We've decided to defer it to next year, and we've added more capital, thank you to the graces of the finance committee and executive team here. So we have a much larger amount of capital for next year. So we are working on both the ladies, which will be done first, and the men's after. So once we get the final schematics from Joe and the details from Joe and Paolo, we will run them by everybody and then we'll start working the locker room. So really exciting. We placed the screens outside. If you remember, we had a really bad windstorm. One of those blue screens that we have on the patio actually just totally just broke and got ripped off. So Ryan and we have been able to get those screens, all of them replaced now, and they actually all work. The next thing is fans out there, Ryan. Updated signage. We're gonna have this hopefully completed by the first quarter of 2025. We are in contract for resurfacing and restriping the lower parking lot, which is also really awesome. We have reupholstered the terrace couches and chairs. These are over where the fire pits were. They were in really bad condition. They look awesome now. They did a fabulous job. On course restroom refresh. We have finalized, Ryan and I and several other folks have finalized the contractors. We're working through the bids. There's several of them. Once we're completed with that, we'll start the renovation. So these are the bathrooms on hole number 7, the men's and the ladies, and hole number 13, the men's and ladies. So we will be also putting fans in here. So hopefully when you go in, you won't have that awful smell anymore. So, on course, working on the water pressure at the pool area. That's Ryan's, one of his pet peeves. He'll get that done. The photographs and historic art for the Centennial have been approved. Updated photography is in the lobby and the Oak Room. And another great item is the upgraded internet and the maintenance area. This powers the top tracer. And also we are going to move the Starlink system, the satellite system, into the clubhouse. So we'll have really awesome working Wi-Fi. In fact, I've got 5 on here right now. Right?
Well, we actually did that as part of the refresh when we did the IT. So you all should have better internet when you're up here at the club. So that has been already completed.
And that's really all I have. And Ryan, if you want to just give a quick update on the solar project.
Yeah, so solar, 2 years ago, we ordered, well, our vendor who is paying for all of it. We paid nothing, by the way. I just like to remind everyone that this was no dollars out of pocket. It's a really nice car park. It keeps my car nice and cool all day long when it's hot outside. We were waiting on the transformers, the PG&E issue. I've had 3 dates thus far. They've missed all of them. The last date they gave me, and this is, I think it was actually kind of a joke, was Black Friday, so the day after Thanksgiving. First off, PG&E is not gonna work on Black Friday, I can tell you that right now. Secondly is I have to close the club, so it will take all power from the clubhouse. Obviously can't do that on a Friday, especially Black Friday. So, waiting on a date, for a Monday. We're still in a holding pattern. So unfortunately out of our control, but it's a PG&E issue.
Excellent. Okay, moving on, we have a special guest, Jared.
Well, I'll start it off.
You want to start, John?
Yeah, I'll just say, strategic planning committee. We have myself and Don as board members. We have Paul listed here twice. He's the most important guy. As well as Steve Swanson, Dave Ray, and then of course our management team, Ryan, Stephen and Eddie. Paul is, he's not only the thought leader, but he's the spreadsheet cruncher and primary research analyst. So I've asked him to present the slides, where we're headed with an update. We had a strategic plan that we published in 2021 that we called euphemistically, we're a golf club and a country club market. We intend to publish this as the 2025 strategy, and on to Paul.
Good, thank you, John. Since the last meeting, I was promoted to chair of the committee. I don't know how that happened. It wasn't willing. But nonetheless, I'm here. Yeah. A longer discussion. Three things we want to cover. Just how have we done since our last strategic plan? What's going on in the marketplace that we're in informs how we think about activities going forward. And then lastly, what's the current draft of the plan going forward? This plan is in draft form. It is being shared with the board. It will be shared with multiple committees for comments. And once we get all that back, it'll go into a final form for board approval. So back in 21, our premier golf club in a country club market. What's happened? As you've already heard tonight, a lot of this has already been touched on. Member satisfaction is high. Back in 21, we were very worried about very high levels of play. We had 45,000 rounds played on the course back then, was putting a lot of stress on the course, all pandemic and post-pandemic related. Now we're back under 40, which is a pretty good place to be according to Troon, as long as we keep our maintenance expenditures up. We aspired to be the premier club for good golfers. That's pretty much played out. Collectively as a group, both men and women, our average handicaps are below those of the USGA overall. A third of the men are single digits, which is a higher percentage than you see in the USGA overall. Same thing on the women's side. So it's an attractive place for good golfers. We look at the handicaps of new members as they join us, and they are in fact also below the averages for the most part. So this is an attractive place for good golfers, also for families. About 60% of the rounds here at Conant are played by memberships with at least 2 golfers, and we have some as big as 6. But so families find this attractive. We've already heard about membership sales going well. Wait list of about a year. You don't want to get a lot longer than that because it discourages people from joining, but that's a great position to be in. We set the target of having our initiation fee and our monthly dues being in the middle third of our peer group of clubs. And so we got a total of 13 clubs that we look at and kind of track performance. If the suspects you would expect to see: Berkeley, Blackhawk, Castlewood, Claremont, Contra Costa, Diablo, Green Valley, Marin, Moraga, Orinda, Richmond, Round Hill, and Sequoia are the peers that we compare ourselves to. So it's a pretty comparable group and some sense maybe substitutable for each other. Right now, we are in that middle third on both sides. We're ranked number 7 on initiation fees with our $50,000 initiation fee. And we're number 8 on dues. And importantly, our dues, although they feel like they've gone up at a pretty good clip, they've gone up more slowly than our peers on average. And so we're number 8 on dues. So we really hit that target. Financial situation you heard about already, we're strong. And we in that 2021 plan, we proposed the Range project, and hopefully it'll get done relatively soon, but it's encouraging, and we saw that as a real vote of confidence in the club and its golf-centric focus and its future. So what's going on as we look at the marketplace right now? There is a strong demand for clubs in our area. Golf was declining. We saw that in the membership levels of that peer group of clubs was going down for a period that reversed with the pandemic. So kind of the 21 to 23 period, we saw dramatic growth in the number of members of those 13 clubs. Sell lists dramatically shrunk, and they're much closer than they were in the previous years. So that's all very encouraging. We've really seen peer clubs investing in non-golf facilities. So of those 13, 10 have not only golf, they have tennis, a pool, fitness facilities, pickleball, and bocce. So kind of the competitive ante is going up. That's why we describe ourselves though as a golf club in a country club market. They see as in response to all those facilities, a lot of non-proprietary members. So they all have higher levels of social members or other categories of members than we have. And that's something that's worth monitoring. Does that translate? Is that going to translate into lower demand for our club going forward? We watch, we don't think so. The past few years say that hasn't happened yet, but we worry about it. Water is obviously a big deal for a golf club in California with droughts and otherwise. We use about 80 million gallons of water a year, mostly in the April to October time period. And fortunately, because of some smart decisions that were made in the past, if you think about water from an availability, from a quality and a cost standpoint, reclaimed water, which is what we use, stacks up very well. And thanks to some hard work on the agronomic side, we now have plans in place to accommodate the poorer quality of reclaimed water. So fresh water is great, costs about 4 times as much as reclaimed water, and you're always at risk of getting your allocation dramatically dropped. Reclaimed, we have great availability, we have the lowest cost, we've got to treat it. Stephen now has good plans in place to be able to handle that. California passed a bill to phase out small gas-powered internal combustion engines. And that has been anticipated and built into, for example, the new maintenance building out at the golf course to be able to charge various small electric powered golf maintenance equipment. We were worried about, do we have a demographic cliff, if you will? Is the age distribution of our membership going to create turnover challenges in the next couple of years? We don't see it. The average age out here at Contra Costa is 61 years old, so roughly half older and half younger. When you kind of plot out expected turnover levels, we think we'll be within our historic ranges of about 25 a year. So we don't see any big issues there. We recognize that T-sheet access is becoming an issue, and so that should continue to be monitored as well. So what does that mean for strategy going forward? Number one priority is still invest in our golf and practice facilities. The forward-looking capital expenditures, 2/3 of that money is going into the golf course. or the maintenance facility between now and 2030. We've got to continue to spend on golf course maintenance and that we're at a sustainable level now. And we flagged that there is a need for a tree plan going forward under the moniker of preserve and plant, as well as a plan to continue to address some of the bunker issues that we've got. The new range and player development facility, once it's in place, will be, we hope, a real plus. And club needs to think about how do we leverage that competitive advantage going forward. Some of these words got changed. We do want to continue to look at our F&B facilities and believe that some work needs to be done to take a look at the question of where do we need to update and where are we going to get a return on those investments. The idea of, quote, what would a proper bar look like? What other amenities does it make sense to put in the clubhouse? That needs to be thought about, but our practical test is a big lift in the quality of the offering to the members, and are the economics going to be able to be sustained by the membership? We've got some refining that needs to be done in the Club IQ regular surveys that we fill out as we really embrace we're a golf club in a country club market. So are we asking questions about satisfaction with the conditions of course, satisfaction with the ability to get tee times, et cetera. Obviously maintaining a strong financial position and continuing to play at that middle third, we think is strategically a very good posture for us to have. It allows us to make sure we've got an attractive offering towards new members, because we still have to sell about 25 or so memberships a year, as well as keep the proposition strong for members here. And then we've had some success near term with social memberships. We are still very low versus a lot of our peer clubs. And I think the question is, are we happy with that? Do we need to make some targeted investments to increase those social memberships, or how do we think about that going forward? So we're logging that as an issue that'll need to be worked. So that's kind of the high level plan.
Thank you very much, Paul.
John Mullins again, I'll cover the Range Oversight Committee. From the board, it's Don Sanders and myself. We have Kathy Worthington, professional landscape designer. We have Pete Schumann, who's a retired engineer and public works expert. We have Paul Jansen and Seth Blunt. I'll call them the members at large, giving us great ideas as we go through the design. And then Ryan, Stephen, and Eddie from the club. So just latest progress and forward plans. I'm sure most everyone has seen the first ski complex and the new little green. Those are fantastic in my opinion. Hopefully everyone's appreciating the beauty and usefulness of it. The number 4 bunker's in place. The number 17 bunker was dropped from scope just because we had too many irrigation and also the water district lines in that area. What was a good idea didn't work out, but we did do some improvement into the level of that to keep the water lines happy. In September, we were finally able to get up in front of the Architectural Review Commission for the city. That's a formal public session. The commissioners are members of the general public from Pleasant Hill. We presented our project. There was some neighbors' commentary, and the bottom line was we were approved 4-0 with 1 abstention for approval. What the approval meant was that the Architectural Review Committee recommends to the Planning Commission that we're able to move forward. I'll come back and talk about the Planning Commission in a minute. Range T, I'm sure everyone's seen where we're at out there. It's a lot of exposed soil. We were literally within about 2 weeks or so of being able to sod it. And had we been able to complete that plan, that area would be looking like the first T area does now. I'm disappointed, the team's disappointed in the way that worked out with the city. Same with the social putting green. We demolished the old building. The core of the green is in place. We have a shaper recommended by Robert Trent Jones to come in and do the work. And we just need to have the city's full and formal approval. The metal garage building, the training facility, the members bar and restroom, all of those designs are in hand. The contracts are in place. We're ready to go with plan check for the city when they're ready. And then we're going to implement a new material bin facility out off of the first stairway to clean up the sand piles and get the lower lot back to being a real parking lot. Next screen, please. So what's next? I mentioned the architectural review. Next step is the planning commission. We've done everything that we can that's in our control to get the city what they've requested. We had a turnaround in early October where they had a few small items that we have completed and have submitted. We're waiting to hear back from them. Planning commission is the formal review process where they approve discretionary projects from the city. Whether we agree or not, we are under the city's jurisdiction. They are the authority, and we have to do what they say. Right after the architecture review session, we're not sure exactly how it happened. We think there was a neighbor or a community activist or someone reported to the city that we were doing work in excess of our authorization. We disagreed with that. We told the city so. Their director of public works came out on the 12th and asked us or directed us to stop work, and we did. We then requested and I didn't mention one member on our list there. It's Carl Campos. If you don't know Carl, he's a very well-known architect in Walnut Creek. He's been very successful, involved in a lot of development projects, and even though he's not officially on my committee, we talk to him and we involve him in meetings all the time, and it's been very helpful. Carl knew the Pleasant Hill city manager. Carl asked for a meeting, and we were able to sit down with the city manager and his direct reports, his division managers. We talked through the history. The kind of the way it went down was in the email that went out to the club. That was at the end of September when this all happened. That's all accurate. It's largely represented here. In case you don't read your emails, we explained in about April after starting the process. So the members approved the project in August last year. We had our first meeting with the city that September. We made our first submission to architecture review in December, and we had to have multiple submissions, and there was sort of a period of mutual discovery between us and the city. When they told us in April that we had to go to the planning commission in addition to ARC, we said, okay, hang on, we got to talk about this because we're coming up on the summer. We really do need to do the work in the golf course. And we talked about possible solutions. We settled on a demolition permit to take down the old building. And it was understood that we were going to be doing work on the grass, that we would not do work related to any trees or any structures, and we have not. Anyway, when the complaint came in, the city manager or the public works manager came in, and she directed us to stop work, and we did. We had a meeting. We explained ourselves, what I just said, as far as the timeline, and we asked for the city's discretion, recognizing that we were only 2 to 3 weeks away at that time for putting down sod, and they declined to give us the additional authorization. So, we said this was inadvertent. We thought we were approved, and the public works manager disagreed, and that's where we are. So, in terms of things we can control, we've got everything in that we can. We're ready with the plan check documents. We hope that the planning commission will be scheduled for November. The two options are the 12th or the 26th. And we're just waiting to hear back from them. Assuming that we do get through planning commission first time through, hopefully with a little cooperation from the weather. We have the contractor who's a local contractor and has worked with the club on multiple things. We work well together, and they've indicated that they can remobilize very quickly. And our hope is to get the range work by the end. So, bottom line, short-term issue. Hopefully, we will have long-term benefits for the club. The budget is still on track. We still believe we can get substantially all the work done by the first quarter of next year. And in the meantime, we've got our friends over at Buchanan Fields, now known as Skylinks, who are giving us use of the range. We still do have the large putting green, and we just recently reopened the small putting green, and we have the local range nets. By the way, one of my friends said, you know, I love these range nets out here. It's a lot easier than going out to the range. Maybe you should keep them when you get the range. That's what's up. I will get to the Q&A. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I think, it's a good point to make, is that, we're being very, very proactive with the city. And, we specifically asked them to have a hearing on November 12th. We've not heard back yet, but we'll be coming in tomorrow to see if they can give us an update. So we're trying to get them as fast as possible. At the same time, if you look at the overall plan, assuming we're able to, do the range, the floor and the putting green and the grading all done in the next, month or so, we should very much be on track to have the entire facility up with the buildings, training center and the bar on time as we discussed, over a year and a half ago. It's unfortunate. We know that it's kind of a burden on people that want to practice. But we're making progress, and I'm sure we'll answer more questions in about 2 minutes. Okay, with that, the final item is member correspondence, which we don't have. So we'll go on and we will adjourn the formal part of this meeting at 7:15 and open it up for questions. Any questions? Derek, go ahead.
Do we know who that neighbor is?
No, God, I wish I did. No, we do not. I still don't believe it's anyone here. I will say that the neighbors that are right next to the driving range, they are super excited about it because now they're not looking at a graveyard of old equipment out of their house. So they've actually been a really good partner to this. So definitely was not that group.
Yeah, we don't know, and I would say that, going forward, you go through a big project, you learn a lot of things. And so once we're all done, we will sit down and say, okay, how do we plan in the future, knowing that city governments are the way they are today? As a matter of fact, there are a number of other clubs within our peer group that have experienced similar delays. I think there were at least 4 of them that were at our last NEP meeting that they have had, permitting issues and delays. So we're not alone, but we will learn from this process. We'll figure out how to do it better next time. And hopefully when we do other projects, we'll be a little bit more knowledgeable and get ahead of it. Other questions? Yes.
So I've never been involved in a driving range project, but I've been involved professionally in quite a bit of real estate development work. And anytime you move dirt and reshape it, you need a grading permit. So it's really hard for me to understand how the GC didn't foresee the need for this kind of permit.
From just speaking from, chairing the committee, speaking with our advisors, Troon, the contractors, we really did believe that the demolition permit was all we needed because we put into the demolition permit that we were going to prepare the soil underneath. We were going to relocate the spoils to the range. We were going to distribute the dirt around the range. Pleasant Hills grading ordinance does have some exceptions in it, like if you don't change the grade by more than a certain percent, or raise and lower the level by more than 3 feet, or if you're preparing the soil for a new crop, like we grow grass. Those are all exceptions. And, we legitimately believe that the demolition permit was right. We're not building a park, we're not building a skyscraper. We're not building any kind of a structure. In the areas where we are putting in a structure, absolutely, we need a grading permit because then you have to have the soils engineer involved. And we have one of those. We have the structural engineer involved. There have to be inspections. And we clearly knew that we were not ready or permitted to do that part of the work. But we felt in the driving range and the area where the demolished building was, we're basically talking about dirt and grass. That's something that we work with over our 100+ acres across the course. We regularly modify and enhance our irrigation system, which is private. It's not involving public utilities. The same with our drainage. Our course is self-draining. There's really no erosion concern. So we really did believe that the demolition permit was what was required, and that's why we proceeded.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes.
Hi, guys. Thanks. Appreciate all the work that's been done to date. Is it second planning Or is it stuck in one of the other permits? And the real question here is that we explored any expedited, approval, you know, opportunity that we could add later expediting in some place.
Yeah, Dominic, as far as expediting the process, we've done that and we're doing that. When we realized, obviously it was unexpected because our understanding is with demolition permit and moving spoils from there out of the range was not going to be an issue. We immediately went to, the city manager, and Carl Campos, who knows the city manager from previous, working together in Walnut Creek, now locally here at Pleasant Hill. So we met with them, and we talked about how we wanted to expedite this process. And the response was, yes, we'd like to help you expedite this process, but we have to still go through, dotting every I, crossing every T. So, to answer the question, yes, we move forward. We're hoping, and we will know soon, and we will report to the entire membership as we have that, what the progress is. And so, let's just say by Monday of this next week, we'll all be able to, I'll send out an email to everyone and say, okay, this is where we are. Hopefully, it'll indicate that we're moving forward. If it says it's the same, it'll sustain. Yes, we've approached it from a number of avenues, and I think that we certainly have their attention. We also pointed out to the city what Contra Costa means to them. We told them specifically, we support 50 students from College Park and Acalanes. That we also have talked about Laser Paint, how we contribute to society. We talked about our other, the junior program. Junior merit program. And we increased it from four students to 11 or to 10 a year ago. And that, being a great golfer doesn't mean you get a scholarship there. So we talked about how much we contribute to this community. And the response that we received was, thank you very much for letting us know that, because we knew you were here. We knew that, a lot of people enjoyed the club. We didn't know how much you were giving back to the city. So I think that helped a lot in terms of getting their attention. And so we certainly have their attention now. And now it's a matter of pushing forward, understanding that you can push a lot, but we also have to make sure we're in compliance and we work well as a citizen, as a group of citizens.
Dominic, we are stuck in planning.
Yeah.
To answer your question, we are stuck in planning. Architectural review is under the planning division, as is the planning commission. The engineering group has done parallel reviews and has continued to do parallel reviews when we're allowed to submit something. It is a sequential process though. And a lot of what they do is based on ordinance, the Pleasant Hill ordinances. So that's why it's required and it has to be done in a certain way. So
It is city, not county.
it is city. When we had Dan O'Malley might know better than I do, but when we agreed to be annexed into Pleasant Hill in the 90s as part of the reclaimed water deal, we came under their jurisdiction. Prior to that, it was all county.
Great, thank you.
Pam.
Other questions?
Yeah, this one question is this all under one permit, or do we do separate permits for example, the driving range and then for the putting area and the practice facility?
Yeah, what's for the planning commission now, I may use an imprecise word here, but it's land use entitlements. So they approve the overall project, including the structures that the architectural review committee says, yeah, the structures are fine. The metal building at a golf course, well, not very controversial. So they approve the land use permits. There are the entitlement for development. There's another permit for use permit. Something that one of the items discovered was they said, well, the square footages of your new maintenance building and this material bin slab out on the first fairway there, they exceed what's in your zoning. And it requires approval by the planning commission. And the same with the parking. They're looking at our parking again. And so we had to engage a professional survey and a report for them and all that. So all of those things are approved by planning commission. Then there's the engineering division that approves the specific, here's the building permit, here's the concrete permit, here's the, those are really the tree removal permits. So there are permits, and they are sometimes buildings or sometimes it's all the collective concrete stuff.
buildings people do it, they'll say, okay, this is a permit for this use. And then if I've got something else going on, or something else, I can start that, and it doesn't.
That's once we get through planning and we actually get into building, they'll probably separate each one of those, whatever, 4 items that we're gonna need those areas for, but right now we're under one big use. Yeah.
Well, the demolition permit covered all of the areas that we're going to demolish, but some of which we haven't yet done. Primarily the area where the fuel tank and the chemical building are currently. We can't demolish those until we build the new ones. But but yeah.
Okay, other question?
So what I'm struggling with is that you went through the architectural process, that's what I understand. I'm late to the party, but so I'm wrong. You went through the architectural process. The architectural process has the responsibility to help direct you on where you need to get approvals. I read the whole thing about the grading permit. I read that today. And clearly it says that this should have fallen in grading. There should have been a grading permit. So why didn't they take responsibility to direct you guys, because that's their job, to say, you need these permits? I struggle with that.
That's like the sense of our frustration because,
Well,
we're not looking to, right now, it's like, priorities, let's get this done and then, not looking to blame people. Because I totally appreciate that. And I know it's frustrating. Right now, the focus is let's get it done.
okay,
And I think that there were maybe lessons to be learned. But so we're not, we will do review, when we're done and say, okay, and we may be smarter later or more aware of what needs to be done. And then we can go back to experts that go facility, acknowledge it and move forward.
Yeah.
So I understand your frustration, believe us. We understand the frustration.
I'll actually, same thing I said with seniors yesterday, if there's anyone in this room that wanted the range done more than me, I'm gonna tell you that's not true. Because everything that we've been talking about, I mean, it can go around the room, and I think I've talked to just about everybody in the room about this at some point in time over the last 2.5 weeks. That's why I don't have any voice left. But yes, I totally agree, and that's why we engage the experts from the beginning to have those conversations. And, unfortunately, with what the interpretation was, they felt differently, and I believe that was the whistleblower that is what actually caused that. So, listen, we're gonna get it done. Gonna be fantastic once it gets done. Yes, this is a little hiccup, and trust me, this group, especially Don and John right now, working from the city with Carl's help, they literally couldn't be working any harder. I'll tell you, we put a checklist together. I don't like when goalposts get moved as you're in the middle of the game, and we kind of felt a little bit that going through that process, because we would fulfill everything, then we had another list. We fulfilled everything, then we had another list. So, one of the goals of this right now is making sure that we're all understanding what's needed, and that in everything that's on that list has been submitted. So
That's right. So what we did was, because the city was coming back and said, not giving us, they were letting us move forward. And there was always, it seemed like there was always something else. So what we did was we put together a checklist and sent it to them and said, okay, this is our checklist. Do you have anything else? The answer is no. So, this is it. So it seems elementary that we're basically changing a practice facility into a practice facility. But the practical reality is we have to go jump through these hoops, which we're aggressively doing. But your point is really well made.
And we did have the planning division and the chief building official sign off on our demolition permit with the understanding of the work that we were going to do. Later on, one of the other managers disagreed, and that's the one who shut us down. And they're saying exactly what you're saying now. You should have had the grading permit. And we're like, well, that's not what was said a few months ago when we applied for all of this. It was pretty clear what we were going to do. And it was basically a difference of opinion on what was required for a grading permit.
So I applaud everybody on this. Yeah, I understand this. I mean, you guys were, not do your job. I pull over 50 permits a year, but I will tell you, I will caution you, when you think they're done with them. Wait.
Oh, yeah. Right. Agree with you 100%. That's what it felt like so far. Dean, you got a question?
Just a couple of questions. One, should we anticipate the same level of resistance when it comes to raising the net And when the neighbors find out we're gonna put a storage bins in front of their front doors, I mean, are those two areas of concern that we should be worried about?
All the problem done. So, that was done through ARC. We did have a couple of neighbors that were down over here that had some issues in my conversation. It felt like I held court. I know you deal with them. After ARC, I actually had them all out front. The one was concerned about blowing sand. Well, that's why we're putting it there, right? So that was the big focus that they had, down on this side, was just the large sand piles constantly. I think they're ugly. I tell Stephen that all the time. But unfortunately, we don't have that space. So that's what this is gonna give us. So from a bin standpoint, yeah, sorry, what was the first part of that question? Oh, raising the net. So back in 2014, there was an approval to actually raise those nets. So I have that from the city. So once we get to that point, thank God we didn't do that through the first one. We actually did listen to the experts that said, hey, pull it out right now. Don't go fight that one. Then go back and say, hey, here was our approval. Now we're gonna go ahead and do this. So, yes, I'm sure we'll have some headache going through that process, but the good thing is it's already been approved once.
Other questions?
So John, just to clarify, after we pass this sticking point that we're currently at, do we have more?
We don't know that. I mean, I think we just, actually, I think we just heard that right here of an expert. Sorry. So I'll give this, the last comment that he made was once you get your approval, just wait. I mean, Swan, you know, just as well as anyone trying to get polls done around here, we had this conversation the other day. You know, it is super hard to deal with cities right now. And, I think my wife does, she's an attorney that does, contract defect work, as the defendant side. So, you know, she's representing all these contractors all the time and talking with them, and they're in our social group. I mean, it is a huge pain in the neck, no matter where you are right now. So, that answer is we don't know. But the reality is they have everything they need to make the proper decision.
Yeah, Arc and Engineering told us that they like our approach of, purchase basically buildings. You know, the metal building is, delivered in pieces, just like the one that went in about 5 years ago after the fire. The container or the bar in the restroom is a converted shipping container. And the training center, you've seen all the pictures on that. That's custom built for us. Those are all, not constructed on site. They're brought in on site, and they like that approach. So, and we've done enough checking that we believe there's not any code or occupancy issues with any of those. Like you said, you've got to get through the permit, and the city is doing it very sequentially. So.
Okay, terrific. If there's not any other questions, and obviously with following up on, any questions, you can talk, we're always available. We may not always have the answer, but we'll certainly listen and get back to you. You got one more question?
I do, and I'm looking for John a break here. This is not for you, John. Probably Ryan more so than anyone else up there. It has to do with the autonomous mower program. Interested in knowing where that stands. Are we moving forward with it? What do you see as the predicted labor impact? And also potential lack of or reduction in conflicts with players on the course that we run into with maintenance people now.
Yeah, great. Great segue, because we're actually talking about this at AEB. So as we were kind of talking through our strategic planning, so that AEB group, we meet once a quarter. Our actually topic going in is actually autonomous mowers. Steve and I have been to a couple electric things. You all have seen a few of the demos that we've had out here. So we've kind of come to the realization that the three little guys that we have right now probably isn't the right fix for a true autonomous long-term. That's why we did this small group, right? It actually looks super cool coming up on number one, seeing those super small stripes on number one. So it works great in certain areas. We've demoed a big fairway unit, which if you watched the PGA Tour last week at the tree facility at Black Desert, we actually had that unit on property. Couple things that we didn't love about it, some software things that they're working on, but we are definitely looking at that front. Yes, will it take some of the time that you're gonna see those units. Again, they're super quiet, so you won't see them out there. Most of them that are on the market right now are not true autonomous, i.e. they can, like the little guys will mow all night long. These do not, so these are still a manned type unit taking from hole to hole, but on the holes will actually be autonomous. So there's still some work on that. There's nothing, that's going. We do have a partner that is looking at potentially having some autonomous for our current fleet. For what we actually have now that can be retrofitted, so we're having some conversations with them about potentially being a demo unit for them. From an industry-wide perspective, I don't know that we're there yet. I don't know that any of the manufacturers are there yet. They can't even fulfill the new electric requirements that we have that started as January 1st of this year. So, they're not to that point. I think that was a good showing, for the group this weekend. If anybody saw that social media, excuse me, that social media, it's there. We're looking at it. I mean, you saw through SBC and kind of what we're doing, Stephen and I, and the work that we put into that electric side. The autonomous piece. I don't know that it's going to be a huge game changer when it comes to labor out of the get-go, because most of them are, you still need to be manned from hole to hole. What it will do is allow us to, which we won't have to because Dan's got everybody filling divots now, but that'll actually have the team being able to kind of fill divots and help with ball marks and some of those type of things, while that unit's doing what it's doing the mowing. So I don't think out of the get-go it's gonna be a huge labor piece, but I think down the line, we're probably looking 10 years-ish before I think that is truly ready for a golf course type use. Again, think about all the things we have. We have people, we have golf balls, we have golf carts, we have all the stuff that goes on from a sod farm type use. Oh, it's awesome. Like 10 acres, I think just goes out and mows 10 acres. There's nothing to mow around. There's no bunkers, there's no water, there's no stakes, there's nothing for them to deal with. So I think it's coming. That's my guess, but I think Stephen, anything? Yes.
We, as Ryan mentioned, we're working with one of our providers to do one of their test sites probably in the next 6 months to retrofit existing mowers and make them autonomous. My perspective and a lot of the perspective of supers when it comes to the labor side of things is we see this as a way to enhance the course by using labor that we currently have stuck mowing to doing divots, doing ball marks, doing beautification, drainage projects, all that stuff that sometimes you have to contract out for, which becomes very expensive. That's where you can take that labor and reallocate it.
Yeah, technology's great, but we're not necessarily looking to be the first mover here.
Yeah, I don't want
The first time people did it out, but I think it's been great that we've been proactive. But this is something for the future, but we're not making a major financial investment in this at all.
Yeah, we're gonna let a few others do it up first.
I'm just saying, we've got some people antsy here.
Yeah.
You're one of them too. So hey, any more questions? Any?
Doc,
one more.
Doc,
This be the last.
come on, Doc. Bring us home.
Yeah.
Probably or not, but I hope they take some discussion of compensation for play in the, what's on.
Yeah, we're actually in the process.
I appreciate the comment. That's something that we're keenly aware of. Okay, well. We're just talking about because of the delays, some professionals that teach the club could, have not had the benefit of, getting lessons. So we're keenly aware of that and managing it. I think that's probably enough. That's a really great point. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your patience. Thanks for all of your contributions to the club and committee members. Thank you. Future volunteers, raise your hand. Mm-hmm.